Hello and welcome to another M19 Draft League. This is Oldmanpoole. I've gotten some feedback from you guys that you want to see a little bit more Magic Online play in addition to Magic Arena, so here I am. I definitely do appreciate being able to draft with other players. While I feel like the algorithm for Magic Arena has gotten pretty good, I still think it's maybe not quite as... It's not quite like drafting with regular peeps. In this pack we've got Dismissive Pyromancers are rare, which is pretty solid. Probably going to take it here. 2/2 for 2 is obviously fine, and then very, very high upside of being able to rummage away extra lands, or maybe find lands if you need to in the early game, and being able to turn it into a burn spell later on is good. Just a very clean little tight package that does a lot of good things well. Declare Dominance has been fairly impressive to me. Plague Mare is fine. Strangling Spores is removal, but not great removal. Same for Take Vengeance. I think this is a pretty easy Dismissive Pyromancer. I think Declare Dominance is probably a second runner-up. Ooh, well there's a Crucible of Worlds. I'm afraid that's not something that's particularly exciting in limited, but it is a good card in its respective crazy older formats. What do I want out of this? There's Draconic Disciple, which I think actually looks or plays a little bit worse than it looks. 7 mana is an awful lot, and you don't even get to utilize the 1 mana that the Draconic Disciple makes, but it's still a ramp spell for any color for only 3 mana. That's not too bad. It's better than Manalith, for instance. There's Gargoyle Sentinel, which I've liked quite a bit. It's good in just about every deck that I've seen it. This pack in general actually is maybe a little bit weak, though. I think it's realistically between the Disciple or the Sentinel, and, you know, we're already in red a little bit. I think we're going to take Disciple. I like the big red-green decks fair amount. I think they can be... maybe, I don't think they're, like, the best in the format. I think the best decks are the really hyper-aggressive sort of red-white ones, but I think sort of a green-red ramp deck definitely can get there too. Alright, in this pack we've got Ravenous Harpy, which is very good. Potentially works well in the black-red sort of sacrifice deck. Doesn't work as well as Draconic Disciple, but definitely is a consideration. There's a Sky Scanner, which is also pretty good in the sacrifice deck, although I think you want to pick up these actual sacrifice outlets earlier rather than the payoffs later. There's Viashino Pyromancer, which is a fine aggressive card, although often you can try and pick them up a little bit later. Sparked Dragon is fine. I think realistically I'm going to take the Harpy here. I think it's got the highest upside. There are a handful of other good cards in here. A lot of playables in this pack, but I think Ravenous Harpy opens us up to the most different kinds of decks. Alright, and I guess going along those lines, there's a Colossal Majesty here. I've been a big fan of this card. It fits into the theme of something like Draconic Disciple, although we do need to pick up some big stuff to go along with it, certainly. I think I'm leaning towards that. Aethershield Artificer is pretty powerful, definitely a good inclusion in a deck that can afford to play a lot of cheap artifacts, and even just if you're playing the big like Gearsmith Guardians and the like, Aethershield Artificer makes those into pretty terrifying threats. But we're a little bit a ways from that, at least so far. Doomed Dissenter is pretty good with Ravenous Harpy, but if we end up going down that route, often you can get that a little bit later. I think let's take the Colossal Majesty. Again, I think we're just going to pick up the cards that potentially let us slide into a specific deck. Okay, so we have Fiery Finish. Not great removal, but it is removal. 7 mana or 7 damage is a lot. Kills basically everything. 6 mana is also an awful lot, though, so quite a bit worse than something like a Lich's Caress, for instance. There's also Arcane Encyclopedia. This card really impressed me initially in the format, but I think people have kind of caught on and maybe made the format a little bit more aggressive than it was right at the beginning. So Arcane Encyclopedia has gone down in my estimation. There are some matchups where it's really, really good, but a lot of time it's not exceptional. I honestly don't know here. I think I might be taking Fiery Finish. I don't really love it, but we're kind of in red already. I think I like it better than the Instigator or Havoc Devils. Inspired Charge is pretty powerful, but I don't think we're in that deck. Now there's another Draconic Disciple. That's 2 now, and maybe to go along with Colossal Mastery if we pick up some more big stuff. There's also an Active Treason if we want to give up on green and try and slide in that direction. I think you realistically need to get like 3 or 4 of the payoff sacrifice cards, which there are a reasonable amount of cards going around for that archetype, but a lot of them are uncommon, and it can be hard to know exactly when to go in my experience. I think I would take the Draconic Disciple. I think it's a pretty safe pick. I think we'll be pretty happy with it most of the time. And what do we got here? Not too terribly much. Sure Strike is okay, although better in decks that aren't trying to utilize Colossal Mastery and Draconic Disciple and going big in the late game, I think. Could you take Manalith here? Don't hate having Manalith pretty much ever. Can be another ramp card, although we have a lot at 3 right now. Sun Cleanser I don't think does too much. Make a Stand's powerful, but you want to be, I think, heavy in the aggressive deck for that. So let's take a Manalith. Seems okay. Dragon Age, there's a Marauder's Axe, which I guess if the Disciple plan doesn't work out, does look like our big green fatties are maybe getting snapped up by somebody else at the table. Marauder's Axe is a way to maybe shift this deck a little bit lower to the ground and more aggressive. It's like Disperse, Anticipate. I think Dragon's Egg is really pretty mediocre, although I guess it is good with Ravenous Harpy for what that's worth. Normal Endurance. I guess we're taking Dragon Egg. I'm not in love with this card. A lot of 3s so far. Millstone does come around. I am a fan of the mill deck in the format, but probably not doing that today. Gonna take Plummet here. This is a great sideboard card. Very, very happy to have it most of the time. Also Minotaur I think has been okay, but I'm hoping we can shift this deck a little bit higher up in the curve, in which case it's a little bit less exciting. Double Cast, not really what I'm looking for. I take a Naturalize. Again, really happy to have a sideboard option. Catalyst Elemental, actually, I have been wrecked by this card a little bit. I think it's a little bit better than I expected, although it's still not great. Okay, Viashino Pyromancer, fine card. 2-drop if you need it, and if we end up being like shifting somewhere more aggressive, maybe into like a black-red deck, Viashino Pyromancer I think will be quite good there. I think we'll take Goblin Motivator over second Naturalize. I'm not real likely to play this card, but there are some decks where it's good. Ooh, this is interesting. So Goblin Instigator, again, pretty good with Ravenous Harpy, maybe good in the Sacrifice-themed deck. Talons of Wildwood's not bad either. I think I might take the Instigator here. Other than the couple of Draconic Disciples, green hasn't seemed like absurdly open. Active Treason comes around. If we see another couple of Sacrifice decks, maybe we'll try and shift into this. We actually have, between like Dragon Egg and Active Treason and Goblin Instigator, some stuff that works with that. Ooh, there's a Cleansing Nova. That's definitely kind of a curveball. So Cleansing Nova is very, very powerful. I am not very much in white. White didn't seem particularly open, but this is, like, board wipes are great, kind of no matter what your deck looks like. It's obviously a little bit better if you're controlling, but even in an aggressive deck, when you know what's coming and your opponent doesn't, it's a pretty big blowout. I kind of want to take Cleansing Nova just because it's so high power. I think it's pretty unlikely we end up in white. Maybe we should just take like Gift of Paradise, although I'm not even sure we're ending up in green here either. So our red is our most obvious color. None of these are great in red. Meteor Golem's cool, but I guess it is a pretty good payoff for the Draconic Disciple. Maybe Meteor Golem's more of a consideration. Cleansing Nova is probably just not realistic, right? I guess maybe let's take Meteor Nova. If we end up in more of the ramp style deck, I think Draconic Disciple will end up powering this out pretty well. And if you can ramp it out, this is a good ramp payoff. Ooh, there's a Banefire. That's pretty good. It's also an Electrify, Elvish Rejuvenator, some other stuff, but Electrify, just being able to burn any target early in the game or be able to go to your opponent's face late in the game is just really, really good versatility. It's oftentimes, I guess, slightly inefficient when you play it, because you play this for like 3 and does 2 damage, you play it for 4 and does 3. If you find a specific card like Shock or like Lightning Strike, it's a little bit more damage per your mana. But the fact this is just so flexible and can be a kill spell early and a kill opponent late is pretty good. Can't say no to Banefire. So there's Rabid Bite. You know, green, despite the Draconic Disciples, really has not seemed particularly open to me. So maybe we should let that go around. Dragon Egg is good with Ravenous Harpy, but not really stellar outside of that. I guess Meteor Golem, if we were thinking green maybe just wasn't open, was a mistake to pick up, because I don't think we can play this in your average red deck either. Barter Brute might just be the best red card, but Dragon Egg maybe has some more synergy if we hit another couple of sacrifice effects. I think I might take the Brute here. I think I'm going to be happy with this card most of the time. And I'm not really sure of the direction the deck's going to take at this point. It's another Rabid Bite. I think we're going to take a Siegebreaker Giant at this point. This card's pretty powerful. If we do end up in a little bit more of a kind of like beat down red deck, this is a great follow like finisher. Take the Giant. Well, there's a Declare Dominance and Elvish Rejuvenator. Not too much else. Maybe we let the Harpy Dream die. and just try and work our way up the curve. The problem is we're just not seeing like Colossal Dreadmaws or like the big stuff to really go along with Draconic Disciple. But I think Declare Dominance just has enough upside and is likely to win us enough games. I should take it. Elvish Rejuvenator is powerful too, but Declare Dominance is once in a while it's kind of bad in your hand if you're getting beaten down or really can't get any value out of it if you're in like a race. But if there's anything that looks like any sort of board stall, Declare Dominance is just a blowout. Okay, and we got a Colossal Dreadmaw, so I guess we've been maybe a little bit rewarded for staying the course. I think we are just going to end up being a green-red deck, maybe a little bit heavier on the red than the green here, but I think we're going to give up on Ravenous Harpy, and I think take a Dreadmaw here and not look back. Okay, another Boggart Brute is fine. Thud is kind of whatever. Go to Thanks for Treason, I guess, but I think we're probably not trying to play that now. Yeah, just take a Brute. Again, pretty efficient. A 3-2 is very solid on its own. A 3-2 for 3 is kind of okay, but a 3-2 with Menace is hard to block frequently. Will put your opponent in kind of an awkward spot if you're on the beatdown. Druid Vakal is way later in this pack than I feel like it should go. I think this is one of the better green commons. Yeah, definitely helps ramp us up into our big top end stuff. Still hoping, I think, to pick up some more like Colossal Dreadmaws, maybe like Boggart Brutes in the last pack. I think Gift of Paradise isn't bad. I will play it over Manalith, certainly, and this has the potential to double splash on occasion. So I guess if we'd taken the board wipe like early, we maybe could have played it off Gift of Paradise, but hard to know that at the time. Gift of Paradise being an uncommon means you're not going to always see it. Elvish Rejuvenator. Okay, green's seeming pretty open, actually. Maybe it'll dry up in the last pack since I don't feel like we saw tons in pack 1, but this is pretty nice. Okay, Havoc Devils. Killer card. Does work well with Colossal Majesty. And do we want Sure Strike or Gear for Guide? I feel like we're working our way up to being more of a ramp deck, which means Sure Strike's a little bit less good. But we have a lot of 3-drops already. And Gear for Guide, I think, is only marginally better than something like a Boggart Brute. So I think we'll take a Sure Strike here. Catalyst Elemental, again, maybe marginally playable. I think the Ram deck is where it's best, but it's a pretty big cost to sacrifice a creature to ramp something out. Once in a while you play this, though, and you like Meteor Golem a little bit early, and it doesn't feel so bad. Alright, well, here we are, aren't we? So there's a Lich's Caress and a Djinn of Wishes, which are splashable off Gift of Paradise. Maybe a little bit difficult outside of that. We do have the Elvish Rejuvenator, could potentially play Manalith. Devil-colored cards are tough, though. I think that the Djinn is better than Lich's Caress, although Lich's Caress is high upside. We have one Plummet already. There's just not very much, like, good green or red for our deck in here. I mean, like, I'd play Titanic Growth. Oaken Form is okay, but I don't think it's in this deck. I think I'm just going to take the Djinn and try and Mize this. If we get, like, another Gift of Paradise, well, there we go. Interesting, though. There's also a Vivian's Invocation here. Also, like, Luminous Bonds. This pack's actually really good, I think. Druid of the Cowl's powerful. Sky Scanner's fine. So Vivian's Invocation, what's it hitting for us here? Is this a fight or is it deals damage? It deals damage. So it works well with Colossal Dreadmaw. Potentially it's pretty cool with like Meteor Golem. Not bad with Siegebreaker. We're a little bit low on like the top end for it. Man, Gift of Paradise. It did wheel in the last pack. I think I'm going to be greedy and take Vivian's Invocation. It seems like a sweet rare. I actually haven't had the chance to play with it yet, but it seems pretty sweet. I've had it played against me a couple of times. Okay, Greenwood Sentinel. If blue is our splash of choice. We could also go for a Strangling Spores, but that's kind of just okay. Yeah, I think we'll probably just take the 2-drop here. Not a very exciting one. Much rather play things like Druid of the Cowl. Rogue's Gloves, like, nah, I don't think this is a Rogue's Gloves deck. Works okay with the Boggart Brute. Don't think this is Lava Axe decks. I guess we could take Woodland Stream. I guess actually that's maybe not irrelevant. Because the Draconic Disciples, if we have like a Woodland Stream as well, then all of a sudden it starts getting not too crazy to be able to play the Djinn of Wishes. And this is not basic land, right? I actually kind of want the Woodland Stream. I feel like Greenwood Sentinel is pretty replaceable. Yeah, let's take the land. Ooh, Shock is great. Surprised to see it kind of this late, actually. Rock's Oracle is also pretty good for this deck. Again, I would probably play Titanic Growth. but we need a little bit more removal, and Shock just being cheap early interaction seems great. It's kind of funny, we're basically no 4-drops so far. We have a really tall, like, long-ended curve, though, and a lot of, like, reasonable ramp cards to get up there, I suppose. Don't really want to play Catalyst Elemental. So Talons of Wildwood is good if you're a little bit more on the aggressive side, which I think I'm going to try and, again, play more towards things like Gin of Wishes, our Colossal Dreadmaw, Vivian's Invocation, and the like, our top end. So Talons of Wildwood, I think, is a little bit less good in that variety of deck. So is Marauder's Axe, both of which are powerful cards. Maybe we'll just take Tormenting Voice here. This isn't particularly exciting, but it can fix the draws early and throw extra lands late. Alright, Tormenting Voice seems okay. This is never a card I'm, like, super excited to play, but I don't think it's terrible either. There's a Rabid Bite. I think we'll take it up this time. We definitely passed a couple in the last pack. Feels a little bit bad given where the final deck list looks like it's going now, but that's alright. Green seemed kind of cut, so I don't know. Elvish Rejuvenator, number 2. Don't think Recollect's particularly good, it's just kind of slow. A lot of times, at least in Limit, this is getting back a creature anyway, and I'm used to getting back 2 creatures for the cost of 3 mana, so it feels kind of like bad rate. I mean, I guess once in a while it's getting something like Banefire back, which is powerful, but I think we're just going to take the Rejuvenator. And a Bristling Boar, and we got the Gift of Paradise back. So it's interesting, we've got, like, all the splash in the world, but kind of light on top end. I guess maybe we'll be extra happy to have the Tormenting Voice to throw extra lands. We could play just Bristling Boar. We want Gift of Paradise more. I feel like getting the Gin of Wishes online is pretty powerful. I think maybe we'll take that. Another Plummet or a Titanic Growth. Growth is good, it just about kills everything in the format always. Your opponent blocks, if they got their mana up, this is going to let you win just about every combat. But we actually are pretty weak to flyers right now. We only have a Gin of Wishes, didn't get any of our spiders, which we would love. I think let's take a Plummet. I think in the matchup where we want that, it's going to be a lot better than the Growth is. Okay, another Havoc Devils or another Instigator. Probably just want another Havoc Devils. It triggers Colossal Majesty, which is nice. And we don't actually have tons of cards that do that right now. I wonder if Colossal's not going to be all that great in this deck. I think it's still better than Instigator. Not much for us here. Let's take Lava Axe. Minotaur or Double Cast. So realistically, anything we're going to play cheaply for Double Cast, I guess we could play like Tormenting Voice. Sure, I don't think Hostile Minotaur is ever making the cut. I don't really think Double Cast is either, but... Tectonic Rift or Root Snare as just random upside cards. Probably Tectonic Edge. It does break open a board stall. Wall of Vines is a fine sideboard card. And Last Pick Catalyst Elemental. Okay, so this deck did have sort of the problem that it looked like it was going to early on. We're kind of a ramp deck that doesn't necessarily have the big final like finisher cards. But we do have some like medium-sized stuff, Declare Dominance, Vivian's Invocation. We have some power top end. I think Sure Strike gets a little bit worse here. We might cut that. We want Dragon Egg probably not. Maybe don't want Boggart Brutes either. These are just fine cards, but maybe not fitting the theme of the deck all that well. We want both Gift of Paradises. Playing Jin is really powerful. There's a lot of upside there. We do have a Woodland Stream and 2 Draconic Disciples and a bunch of Elvish Rejuvenators, which can help too. I'm a little bit worried about us getting flooded, because we're in an awkward spot that we really need to hit 3 mana, but once we have 3 mana, we're very likely to have a lot of mana. I think Gift is probably worse than Draconic Disciple in this deck, even with Jin. Maybe we should just pull out like an Elvish Rejuvenator. It actually probably does kind of the same thing. A lot of times this is going to trade and like gain us like 3 lives on a block, and Gift of Paradise is just a better version of that if we're just trying to splash for the Jin. Yeah, actually, I kind of don't hate that. I think that I like the Gift of Paradise a little bit better. We're cutting the Brutes. Fiashino Pyromancer seems kind of whatever in this deck. Just not that aggressive. Goblin Instigator I think is okay. It's a pretty nice hedge against more aggressive decks because frequently they will be playing things like Pyromancer, and Instigator interacts with them fairly well. It's also not terrible against the go wide decks, since just having extra chump blockers when your opponent tries to Inspiring Charge or the like can be pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just like all of our spells. Fiery Finish is, again, expensive, but we have the ramp for it in this deck, and we do need a little bit more removal. How much do we actually have that works with Colossal Majesty? 5 cards? It is good if it gets going. Maybe we should sideboard this card, though. Because there are definitely going to be some games that it's very, very good when we find like a Havoc Devils, and there's going to be some games where all of our like top-end stuff just dies. Yeah, maybe let's cut that. Vivian's Invocation actually may not be fantastic for the same reason, although 7 cards is pretty deep, and I think we only really need to hit one of these cards to be pretty happy with it. So if we run this, we are running a lot of extra ramp. I think there's a very real chance that we kind of flood out. But I don't think this deck really can afford to play fewer than 17 lands either. Tormenting Voice I think will be actually better than I'd given it credit for. I wonder if Colossal Majesty should just be main deck. I think it's the only card I'm really unhappy not to be playing main deck here. I think we're going to play Woodland Stream. We can maybe hope the Draconic Disciples are a good mana sink late in the game. These, even if it is expensive, they do turn into 5/5 dragons. Like, that is a real deal. And we're not going to play any islands other than the Woodland Stream. Do we want to be heavier in red or green? I think heavier in red. We have a couple of double red cards and like Havoc Devils and Siegebreaker Giant, and Druid of the Cal doesn't actually. We need double red, I guess. 2 mountains to go along with that to ramp into something. I think that Dismissive Pyromancer is also costs red, although a lot of times we're going to want to use this in the same turn as we cast another spell, so having an extra red source isn't all bad. I think let's do something like 9/8. Okay, not like overwhelmed with the deck. There is a lot of power, but I think we fell a little bit short of like the number of payoffs we want to have for the ramp deck, and a little bit too high on the early game stuff. Things like Colossal Majesty, I think in this deck you really, really want to be able to play, and I'm not sure we just got quite enough stuff, quite enough playables for him. But here we are. Let's run to match 1. We are starting match 1 here, and I think we got a mulligan this, unfortunately. We have a significant proportion of our expensive late game cards in our opening hand and 1 land, so I think we have to toss this one back. I think this hand is better, although actually not by miles, since the Havoc Devils can't be played unless we find another mountain. But I think we're keeping this, and I guess I'll put the mountain on top. This is a little bit lackluster. We do have the Woodland Stream to start us off. That's not all bad. I could definitely see some good draws coming out of this. Mountain for my opponent scares me, since I feel like pretty much all of the red decks are aggressive, except for actually the sort of red-green, slightly larger ramp deck. And if my opponent's playing like red-white, yeah, I think we're going to be in a world of hurt with this start. Okay. Well, Goblin Instigator. That is bad for go-wide potential, but also a little bit less significant as far as immediate attacks, since like Bogger Brute will block that fairly well, and then Havoc Devils even after that. Whereas something like a 3/1 there would have been a little bit more brutal. Okay, well, we'll definitely take this. Is this a foily goblin token now? Ooh, yeah, look at that value. Alright, opponent does have a 3-drop, just another Goblin Instigator. It's dangerous. And another mountain, okay. Would not say no to not drawing more of these mountains. The problem now is if my opponent has Inspiring Charge, like, next turn it trades and we just take 9 damage, we're basically dead. Or Heroic and Reinforcements is even worse. Ouch. Yeah, this shows off the power of the red-white deck when it gets going. Let's see, we can take 12. Then next turn we're very likely dead. I think we actually have to trade for this, which feels terrible. There are some goblin synergies, I guess, in the set, so I guess we should kill a goblin rather than a soldier. And not real likely to have recursion here, although we also don't have any bounce, so I guess we should probably just block one of the itty-bitty goblins. Alright, and we're down to 8. The card's pretty good. Play Havoc Devils. Hope this can mitigate our suffering. If my opponent has another trick kind of any kind, we're just dead here, but only so much you can do about that too. Okay, opponent cracked in with everything. continue our same line of blocks. Alright, opponent didn't have anything, at least immediately. Okay, Swiftclaw's good. And a Johnny's Pride Mate. So we can play Draconic Disciple and the Dismissive Pyromancer. So that gives us 2 blockers. Means we can trade with like the Swiftclaw and the Pride Mate and block with Havoc Devils and go to 1. So we are not just dead, we are just very, very close to just dead. So, I'll pass. Yeah. Heroic Reinforcement's pretty good, especially when my opponent's already got 4 creatures on the battlefield by turn 4. Oof. Yeah, Red-White has definitely made a case for being the strongest deck in the format. It's pretty terrifying when they have a good start. Ooh, Gutter Snipe, Commenting Voice, pitching cards. Looking for like any kind of trick, maybe. Interesting that they pitched Gutter Snipe. Do they have like the Angel on the top end? It's very possible. Angel just destroys us next turn. Okay. Opponent come in with the Force. And I guess we want to block like that. I guess we probably want to keep this alive rather than the dragon. Don't think there's tons either way. If my opponent has a trick, the game's just over, but okay, we're down to 1. And we're actually not that far away from Meteor Golem. Although, we're still very, very close to dead. If we hit a land next turn, we can Golem away an Angel if that's what my opponent has in hand. Yeah, can't attack. If we manage to come back from this game, it is going to be a miracle. Okay, they do have the Angel. So we just trade away our board here. Actually, not completely. Because the 4/3s actually do a pretty good job of stalling. My opponent gets to get rid of the Dismissive Pyromancer, but they actually may not have a good attack here. They may have just to hope for the Angel of Dawn. Problem is, we'd have to either find a land or something relatively cheap. Oop. Okay, they're attacking with everything. It's kind of interesting. Just to try and make me force the trade with the Pyromancer. I guess that means we need to find a land specifically, so I guess that does cut an out. Well, we will block everywhere, as is our duty here. If we actually hit a land in Meteor Golem, it's not impossible we can win here, though. We have a better board state. Come on, land. And Jane of Wishes is truly tragic there. Alright, GG. We had some good outs, but not quite enough. Wow, alright, so my opponent had a blisteringly fast start. Do we want, like, Pyromancer? It does still trade pretty poorly against, like, Goblin Instigator and the like. We may just need it, though. Dragon Egg seems good. Do I want anything else? Elvish Rejuvenator actually might beat out Gift of... Well, actually, maybe not. It's still kind of the same, because Gift does gain us 3 life when it enters. Naturalize, Plummet, nothing seems fantastic there. Wall of Vines is probably okay. So we bring in those 2. What are we cutting? Barger Brute seems kind of mediocre against all the various pump effects. Like, these are going to trade with a 1/1 a lot of the time. So maybe we cut those 2. Man, we were really close to maybe stabilizing that last game. Really close, but not quite enough. Okay, would like to play first. At least it was a fast game. Oof. Man. Do we take another mulligan? Problem is, if we just draw lands, like, we are so dead. And if we draw expensive stuff, we're still probably so dead. Yeah, I think we have to take another mulligan. It's rough. Yeah, I think actually I'm okay trading 2 lands for a Gift of Paradise, probably. Let's go ahead and keep. Can put that on the bottom. That's funny, it was almost the identical hand, though. Just trade, like I said, a Gift of Paradise for 2 lands. Alright. Opponent does not have, like, that cheap goblin card. The Bloodlust Insider of the set, I can't remember what it's called here. It's basically the same thing, though. Okay, so next turn we'll play Gift of Paradise. My opponent's probably got, like, the 1/1 goblins. Yeah. We'll have a Havoc Devils before they can crash in with all their creatures. Ooh, and we actually do have Jinn of Wishes, which I think is not too bad. Okay, let's play Gift of Paradise. Targeting our forest, I guess. Gain some life. And set up for Jinn of Wishes next turn. We want to run into something like Electrify. We maybe want to play Havoc Devils first. Jinn of Wishes is a little bit more mana efficient, though. And the upside on that card is great. Okay, yeah, we will take this. And we are down to 21. Opponent has no follow-up. It's not so bad. So actually, I kind of want to play Havoc Devils and try and declare dominance the following turn, because if my opponent just plays like a regular ordinary creature and doesn't necessarily attack, declare dominance might get them really, really good. So I think I like that. The problem with playing the Djinn of Wishes with that line is if my opponent, my opponent can't block flyers, so declare dominance is actually kind of a nombo with anything that flies. So, see, Gallant Cavalry here is actually pretty good, I think. My opponent's unlikely to block, and it's a 2-for-2, but it just cleans up the board very, very well. This goes up to 6. It is a trade straight across. Now, on the other hand, if my opponent had attacks, maybe they would have swung last turn. I think it feels so good to just kind of clean the board, say, hey, most of my opponent's great effects are pumping the board. So if we declare dominance, even though it's a 2-for-2, we can then Djinn of Wishes the next turn and then start getting value. I think that's good. We also get in for a couple of random points of damage for whatever that's worth. I guess 1 random point of damage. Okay, Havoc Devils, wipe my opponent's board. And mine, but details. We're definitely down on cards, but if Djinn of Wishes survives, we're not feeling too bad about that. Okay, we get to do 1-1, 2-2, 1. Yep, looks good. Hey, we're ahead of my opponent on life going into turn 6. That doesn't feel so bad. We have a Djinn of Wishes on board. Hopefully my opponent can't answer. And then Fiery Finish to deal with anything that seems really, really terrible for us. See if they've got like the reinforcements here or something. Okay, just a Havoc Devil. I was so happy that I cleaned up 4 creatures. Okay, a Djinn and a Wall of Vines. Wall of Vines not looking like crazy exceptional here or anything, but we will still play it. Next turn, probably start making some wishes. Really want to hit like Colossal Dreadmaw or something. Once still got 5 cards in hand though. This Djinn's gonna have to give us a lot of value, I think, for us to come back into this game. Ooh, Goblin Trash Master. Okay, this is not a goblin. Pretty good though. Just a 3/3 body is large. And upside with things like Goblin Instigator is definitely not small. Yeah, we're just taking this. Don't want to trade off the Djinn for sure. Alright, well, I want to do this first. Let me make sure I'm reading the card right. Remove Wish card, reveal the top card of your library. You can play that card without paying its mana cost if you don't exile it. So we can get lands off of this, so we should always utilize it before anything else. Alright, cross our fingers, guys. Not a land, not a land. Alright. Well, there we have it, I guess. So I'll take another 4 next turn. We got to keep the Djinn back, because I probably need to block the Trash Master. Well, we now can play just about anything in our decks. That's good. If my opponent swings with both, that's really scary. They do not, so it looks like they don't have a trick, at least. Don't have an angel. Not really sure what they have. Another Gallant Cavalry, just, again, building out the board. My opponent's deck looks really good. I think they have a solid version of this deck. Okay, we're going to go for the Djinn again. Kind of the same argument as last time. And I guess we want to have Devil Red since we have a Forest in hand. Although I don't know if that's going to change too much since I think we're Tormenting Voice. Goodness. Casting Tormenting Voice and getting rid of it. Okay, Meteor Golem's actually a really good hit off our Djinn, though. Let's bring that in. I think we're just blowing up the Havoc Devils. My opponent can trade Trash Master for the Meteor Golem, so I guess we really don't want to hit it, right? Yeah. Okay. Play Tormenting Voice. Oh, actually, let's make sure we keep up Shock. There's a potential draw here. Okay, no Shock. And I think we're still on the pass, play it cool side of things. We could swing with the Djinn. My opponent can always blow up the Meteor Golem, though, and then they can get in with Cavalry, which doesn't seem good for us. So I think we're just gonna just wait around. Meteor Golem does not look very good against Mr. Goatee Goblin over here. Or I guess it's not even a goatee. What he's been is that like lamb chops. Doesn't have quite the same nice alliteration. And it's a pretty big hit. Heroic Reinforcements is a nasty card. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and block as best we know how. We take 7 down to 6. We do get to snipe 2 things here if my opponent doesn't have anything. They have some sort of trick, it's gonna be bad, but we're down to 6. We're still not looking terrible on board. Ooh, Goblin Instigator is actually pretty nice. Well, let's keep a wishing. And yeah, let's do that. Come on, not a land. Something big. Meteor Golem was a pretty nice hit last time. Oh, nice. Colossal Dreadmaw. Perfect. Okay, and we play our Goblin Instigator. And I think we're going to get in with the Djinn this time around. We've gotten full value out of it. We have a lot of blockers available. I think I want to leave the Meteor Golem back still, just because if they have like an answer to Colossal Dreadmaw, it can help hold down the fort. Djinn's done really good work this game. Had some good hits off the top, kept us alive in a pretty tough spot. My opponent's deck looks nuts though. Okay, they do have Take Vengeance. Fair. Not a card I'm actually super impressed by in this deck all that often, just because a lot of times you're on the beatdown, and like I'm not sure they had an opportunity to cast it on us until turn 9. Like, and hopefully for this deck the game's already over at that point. Uh-oh. A Johnny? Oh my goodness, my opponent's deck is nuts. Okay. Well, my opponent's deck is nuts. Wow. Okay. Yeah, those are big. You got me. I don't know if we can beat a Johnny. I mean, we can Fiery Finish away the Trash Master and pressure a Johnny, I suppose. Ouch. Yeah, that's good. Okay, Dismissive Pyromancer is kind of nice. We can start pitching lands for that. So let's see. This is +1/+1 on up to 2 target creatures. Return target creature with mana cost 2 or less, which is, I guess, the Goblin is its only thing my opponent can bring back. It's actually not real big. Mostly this is the Countermaker. Countermaker's still not bad. Let's see. We attack with Dreadmaw. Problem is if we Fiery Finish the Trash Maker, my opponent just blows up the Meteor Golem. The Meteor Golem can't swing anyway, so maybe we just have to accept that 2-for-1. Swing at the Colossal Dreadmaw. If my opponent doesn't use the Knight to block, we get to kill it then. And if we kill the Knight, then it's not so bad. So I guess we can swing with all. I think we're going to start with Fiery Finishing. Fiery Finish. Blow up my opponent's Trash Maker. Like I said, I'm pretty sure they're just going to kill the Golem in response. Ooh, they didn't. Ooh, okay, that's a lot better for us. Okay, so we go to attacks. We swing at a Johnny with that. And with that, between the two of them. And then my opponent, say they like block and block. Both the creatures die. They can play something and then make a Johnny bigger, but then they're probably in chump block mode again. I want to keep up... Do we want to keep the Goblins back? If we keep Goblins... If we swing with Goblins, we can guarantee a Johnny's dead, right? Because best comes to best, they like chump, block, 5 damage instead. Which means if we swing in like that, they won't block with anything. Which means they swing the next turn. We block, we take 3 potentially. If they have like some sort of instant speed shenanigans, we might die. But Johnny's off the battlefield. If we swing, say with 1 more of these guys, my opponent then has an out, because they can go block, block. But maybe that's not so bad. We hit my opponent for 1 to 4. If we block with 1 goblin, they're more likely to like block there, eat 1 free goblin, let a Johnny die. But then we have 1 goblin back. Kind of like swinging with exactly 1 more goblin. And let's do that. This doesn't guarantee a Johnny's dead, but if a Johnny isn't dying, my opponent's in a little bit of a tough spot. Okay, they did do that. A Johnny dies. My opponent's got a big Knight in play. We're probably going to be chump blocking with the Goblin. We dismiss the Pyromancer. Okay, so Johnny is offline. Opponent still just has any sort of like group pump effect. Potentially we get hit pretty hard here, but I think that was my best play there. And my opponent's deck looks great. All right, Drill Master. Putting on the Soldier probably. Is there any way we want to get rid of the Dismissive Pyromancer? Definitely don't love it. Kind of think we might be in chump block mode, at least with the Goblin. Could have Lightning Strike, which would get us. We want to use Wall of Vines is the real question here. Yeah, Cavalry Drill Master was pretty good there. I think I actually might be trading it away. The problem is, like, it just has so many cheap cards. But, like, what's the real option here? My opponent plays some sort of pump spell and we eventually block a Soldier, but we'll probably have to chump block later anyway, if that's the case, if they're going all out. I think I'm going to block with both. Feels bad, but keeps our life total a little bit higher. Problem is I'm not even like 100% sure we have inevitability. My opponent's just building out a board so quickly over and over again. Okay, Vivian's Invocation's pretty good. We do have enough to do that and Rummage. But I don't really want to do this main phase. I want to have it as a blocker probably. Let's play the Invocation, see what we find. Keep up 1 red for the Pyromancer. It's not actually a ton still on the top end, although there is a Siegebreaker double, or Siegebreaker Giant. I also grab Draconic Disciple, although using this to kill off like the Knight seems pretty good. And also we have a lot of mana, so we potentially could set up for a really big attack in the future. But I think let's take the Giant, kill off their Knight. So we swing with our Dreadmaw. That potentially gets us to the point where we're getting close to swinging for lethal. Does this go to players? Just creatures. So if my opponent has another Heroic Reinforcements, that would put us to dead if we play Colossal Dreadmaw. If they have Trumpet Blast or Inspiring Charge, we're not dead, but we're not looking real healthy either. If they don't have anything, we're happy we swung. I think I'm swinging. Puts us dead to Heroic Reinforcements, but I think that's the main thing. They have removal, it's not the worst. Vivian's Invocation was a great draw there. Okay. When it goes down to 9, go ahead and pass. On rummaging away our mountain at the end of the turn. My opponent has like removal spell plus Trumpet Blast or something, we lose to that. Again, we can only do so much. Okay, Cavalry Drill Master. It's gonna make Soldier or a Goblin pretty big. Ooh, going for the other Cavalry Drill Master. Okay. So that's now a 4-1. Opponent swings. So let's see. I'm not going to block with Dismissive Pyromancer, so let's rummage there. See what we draw first. Is there any way we want to go for lethal? So these both have Trample. Right now, my opponent's got 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers on the battlefield. So we can remove 2 blockers with the Siegebreaker Giant and just go for a big swing. We get rid of 2, my opponent has basically 11 toughness on the board. If they don't have anything, we win. We do definitely want to block here. I think I'm using Meteor Golem. We could block with both of these and assume that the game's probably over next turn one way or the other. And then say, hey, at least we're killing the Cavalry Drill Master in that case. Actually, that doesn't seem terrible. If they have a trick, our play doesn't change still, and maybe we'll be happy they don't have a trick next turn. Yeah, because they'd want to use it to try and stay alive. I think we double block. On the other hand, the Pyromancer maybe blows up something a little bit bigger. They have to have nothing for us to win off the next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We rummage away. We can do this for 3, still blow up something. But if we blow up one thing, actually, if we blow up one relatively large thing, then my opponent still only has 3 toughness on play, and we still get to kill. So I guess maybe we do chump block and just don't go for any value at all. I want to have the Dismissive Pyromancer to trade away for something if we need to. So I think that is our block. Which I guess means we should have looted with the Pyromancer first, but... Okay, let's discard, draw. Okay, another land. Opponent didn't play anything. Let's see. So if we don't swing with both of these, game's just over. Because my opponent is going to be able to go in the next turn. We blow this up to kill something. It doesn't actually change too much. The giant's just better. If we swing with both of these, we could use the Pyromancer to blow up one of those. If they have a trick or something, and potentially go down to 1. So I guess we remove 1 blocker. I guess I actually probably want the Drill Master to die. Unless they have like first strike something. I'm not sure. Let's get rid of Goblin and Soldier here. Or I guess just 1 Goblin. Okay, and that is it. My opponent calls it there. Ooh, that was a tight game. But we did manage to take it down. Even after a pretty rough start too. And man, my opponent's deck is just terrifyingly good, I think, here. Okay, do we have anything else we can sideboard in? Not really. Paradise gains us 3. I guess the Rejuvenators do trade on occasion, but a lot of the time I think they're just chump blocking something bigger. And Gin of Wishes like single-handedly brought us back into that game. Yeah, I think we just gotta run it back. I think we do need to be lucky, but I think we have outs to be lucky. Okay, Wall of Vines into Goblin Instigator, into Gift of Paradise, into other stuff. This is actually, assuming we draw like 1 land, about as good a hand as we could hope for. Let's go ahead and keep. My opponent's Fogman. I'm fairly confident they're not playing any Fogs in their hand. I feel betrayed. Okay, got that Wall of Vines online. More goblins? Happens a lot. Fair enough. Let's hit a land. Really would like to see 1. Okay, we did. Play our Goblin Instigator. Next turn, probably play a Dragon Egg. Man, actually might depend if we hit a land or not. We might want to play the Draconic Disciple. Okay, Cavalry Drill Master. Sure. This just kind of lets my opponent force through some damage here. Can't do too much about it, but we will just take it and go down to 17. Yeah, my opponent's deck looks pretty solid. Okay, Druid of the Cowl. I think we're playing Draconic Disciple here. Could just play Dragon Egg. Disciple, if we draw a land, potentially lets us go Druid plus Dragon's Egg next turn, though. And this, I mean, does potentially block like 1/1s. Let's pass it back. Definitely no good attacks. Opponent just has too much burst damage kind of out of nowhere for us to be excited about getting in with like goblins. We need them on defense, I think. So the Nightmare is still Heroic Reinforcements, almost for sure. Gallant Cavalry, setting up for a potentially good like Angel turn next turn, which, I mean, we can't do too much about. Okay, we did a land. So we can play Gift of Paradise. I think Druid of the Cowl is probably better. And I don't think it actually matters too much. I want to play Druid plus Dragon Egg, I think. Let's play our Dragon Egg. A good chump blocker that potentially will trade up for an Angel at some point. Well, we've been fortunate in that we haven't drawn any of our like super expensive stuff here. We've been a little bit light on lands, but as long as we're still playing lots of spells, it's not so bad. Okay, they've got the Heroic Reinforcements. This is going to be a big hit. Yeah, really no reason not to just go with everything. And seems pretty busted. Okay, so we like double blocks this maybe. We take 8, go down to 9, kill off only one of my opponent's creatures. We could also block like there and chump block and get slightly better value out of it. No, I think this is okay. All right, take our licks. Oh, wait, only down to 10. I must have miscounted ever so slightly. Banefire. Good card some of the time, not fantastic here. We have 6 mana, so we can play Gift of Paradise into Havoc Devils. It does take both of these blockers out of commission. Means if my opponent has another trick, it's pretty bad. We do go up to 13 off of that. We could just play Havoc Devils and keep these both up and available to block. Actually might be better. It's a little bit slow. Actually, I guess we can't play Havoc Devils then, can we? We'd just be playing like Gift of Paradise. We can play Gift plus like Banefire. Let's see, if we tap everything down, we still have 3 blockers. My opponent plays some sort of pump effect. We've got to go like... probably have to block those 2. We take, say, 6. Block those 3, 6, 8. Let's go down to 5 at that point. We do get to eat a lot. Gift of Paradise. That's interesting. I never realized you could actually target your opponent's lands, but I guess that makes sense. Play Gift of Paradise. Play Havoc Devils. Pray. Okay. Really kind of need my opponent not to have like heroic reinforcements or like an angel or something gross this turn. Oh no, not an angel. Please, not an angel. Oh, I can't decide which is worse. They're both so bad for us. Heroic reinforcements. Is that lethal? It might be. And my opponent's deck looks stupid good. So let's see. We have 3 blockers. We are taking 10 regardless. Gonna trade like that. We're gonna block like that. We're gonna block like that. We take 6, 11. I guess we should trade for the Goblin. Again, because my opponent even has like a Trash Master. There's even some value here. So that trades. That trades. That blocks. We take 11, go down to 3, or go down to 2. All right. Opponent's starting to run out of stuff, but so are we. Okay, so they've got 6 attackers. We kill the Gallant. We block 3 of them. We take 2. We are probably dead. My opponent doesn't necessarily know that they've got us for sure, but they do have us for sure, and any like pump effect is just disaster. Okay, pass back. Well, I mean, I guess we can maybe be happy we took a game off this deck, but 2 heroic reinforcements, tons and tons of Goblin Instigators and Gallant Cavalry. This is just what this deck wants. Oh yeah, Demanding Dragon means we're super dead. Yeah, my opponent's deck looked good for sure. Okay, we'll get rid of our Wall of Vines. Very unlikely we have something that deals with 2 creatures here, so I think my opponent, I definitely go for it, and that is the game. Well, tough. Tough, tough, tough. Fun game, though. My opponent had a really, really good deck. And I guess we'll go on to our match 2. Alright, back for match 2. Hoping my opponent doesn't have quite as nut of a deck as they had in the last game. Let's go ahead and keep. This hand looks pretty fine. We've got Shock for early interaction, Boggart Brute, potentially Declare Dominance. Seems all about what we want. I'm playing black. No 1-drop, so no, what's that card? The Vampire Neonate to go along with it. We can play the Woodland Stream more or less for free here, so might as well. Plan on shocking this next turn. Probably killing off something on my opponent's side. Perhaps not. In that case, Boggart Brute, go! A couple of Boggart Brutes with Shock backup actually is a pretty good beatdown force. It's possible we get in quite a few damage here. Okay. Let's go ahead and go to attacks. Yeah, my opponent actually has had a little bit of a slow start, it looks like. And we may be pretty punishing here. Potentially my opponent like plays something. If Shock takes care of it, they would go down to 11. Wow, they just don't have anything that's also going down to 11. Looks like a tough draw for them. Well, we have started to draw our top end cards and haven't hit our lands just yet, so a little bit unfortunate there, but we still have a pretty massive board advantage. It's missing out on 1 good use of mana. Maybe isn't the end of the world. Okay, opponent just concedes. Wow, alright, that was a fast game thanks to the Boggart Bros. Black-red, that's usually aggressive. We want Dragon Egg? My opponent just had like a really bad draw. That's probably what happened. I'm honestly not sure if I really want to change anything. I just don't know enough about their deck. Again, a lot of times it is aggressive, so maybe we want things like Dragon Egg. I'm just not sure that I really know well enough. So let's jump back in. Alright, pretty good hand. One has kept at 7, we will as well. We have an Instigator, Banefire to answer any early threat. And hopefully Rabid Bite gets better as we draw some more stuff later on. Vivian's Invocation's powerful. It's not the best draw on turn 1, but I'll definitely utilize it at some point. Oh, yeah, the Bogger Brute. I like me a Bogger Brute. And we're doing a pretty good impression of a beatdown deck, actually. And anytime you've got a ramp deck that can be a beatdown deck early and a ramp deck late, you feel pretty happy with that. Ooh, Gutter Snipe. Okay, I see what my opponent's doing here. So I don't think it's very likely my opponent blocks here, but we would lose a Goblin if they did. Gutter Snipe's pretty high upside, though. I don't think there's any way they block. I think we can Mize an attack, right? Yeah, nice. Player Bogger Brute. I don't think I would block if I was in my opponent's shoes there. Gutter Snipe's probably kind of one of their win conditions. Blood Divination. Wow, okay. Wow, okay, that doesn't seem super great for my opponent. Taking kind of a lot of damage here. I mean, you do what you gotta do. They must have some pretty good top end, because we have run over them in the early game. Like, Gutter Snipe plus Blood Divination is sweet. I guess it's unfortunate that the Gutter Snipe doesn't actually work with Blood Divination. Like, you don't get any damage out of it because you have to sacrifice it as part of the cost. Okay, that's gonna get shocked. Yeah. We could try and Rabid Bite, but, well, what can my opponent have? Like, if they have a shock of their own, it'd be pretty bad. They did just draw a bunch of cards off Blood Divination. I think if they'd had it early in the game, they would have used it. But they just drew a lot off Blood Divination. I don't really want to get blown out on Rabid Bite. If my opponent's got, like, the Bring Back to Life, okay. Well, now Rabid Bite should be able to finish the job at least, so that's nice. Let's come in tapped, but I think we're going to kill it anyway. Guess we'll use a Draconic Disciple. They could have the -1/-1. I guess that wouldn't be a huge deal, but it would shrink the Bogger Brute in addition. I don't know. We're just going to play this and Rabid Bite with it. Again for another 5. And the thing is, like, now we can Banefire for 5 as well, so my opponent is just really, really close to dead. Like, Bogger Brute, if it manages to connect next turn, they just die. Yeah, okay. Well, I think my opponent looks like they just had some pretty tough draws there. And we had some pretty aggressive draws, and managed to go the distance, but I guess 1-1 at least. Let's go into our third and final match and see if we can't pull out the 2-1. Alright, we are back for our third and final match. Playing against Barnaby Jones 90, who has mulliganed down to 6. How brave are we? We do have a burn spell. 5 lands is not great, but in this deck it may not be terrible either. Vivian's Invocation does give us something to do with those lands if we make it to turn 7. We'll probably be able to play it on turn 7. I'm kind of in the keep camp. I feel like this could go poorly, but I think Banefire makes it just good enough to hold on to. Alright, opponent has put a card on the bottom. And hopefully it wasn't going to F6 their turn there. Yeah, Woodland Stream. It's a land. We don't love lands, but if we're going to play it, at least it's on turn 1, right? So let's see what our opponent's other color is. Double Swamp. And no play. Yeah, Fiery Finish, that's more removal eventually. Yeah, look at us with all these like 6 and 7 drops here. Okay, Blue-Black. Still no play, it looks like. Okay, Dismissive Pyromancer. Do we want to walk into Counter Magic? I think so. If my opponent's got it, it's unfortunate for us, but if he doesn't, we just get to start getting such good value out of the Dismissive Pyromancer. Yeah, seems pretty good. Go ahead and pass. Opponent has not F6'd, so this could mean no. I'll say if they have Essence Scatter, I'm sure they use it there. No. Hired Blade. Ooh, alright. That tech, though. I think we want to keep the Dismissive Pyromancer alive. We might use Banefire, just kill off the Blade next turn, and start diluting. If we had the shock that we were trying to show off, we'd be very happy to play that. Exclusion Mage. Okay. So I wonder if my opponent's actually more or less blue-black. Green's the splash. Yeah, we take a hit here for sure. Okay. So we can either Banefire or Havoc Devils or replay the Pyromancer. Kind of like the Havoc Devils, honestly. It lets us maintain or keep Banefire in our hand. It doesn't block the Hired Blade very well, but it does keep Exclusion Mage back. And then next turn if my opponent has like another bounce spell or something, we can always go Dismissive Pyromancer and Banefire in that turn. So I think this is nice. It gives us a good potential to go double spell next turn if we need to. And while it doesn't block the Hired Blade like absurdly well, it does hold down the fort. We may actually even block here anyway, even though it's a trading down, because we have Vivian's Invocation to maybe try and set us up for a late game. Maybe just the trade down's okay for mitigating some life loss. Ooh, Talons. Okay. Talons, huh? So we could block there, and I think Banefire away the Hired Blade. Doesn't seem so bad. I don't want to take 6 here. Okay, just trade. My opponent can rebuy the Talons. They get reasonable value off of that. Okay, just doing that. I guess we don't have to Banefire. We could gift Paradise into Dismissive Pyromancer, and then we could Vivian's Invocation next turn for sure, and probably kill off the Hired Blade that's maybe equipped at that point. Doesn't seem too bad. And again, anytime we can kind of hold on to the Banefire, it has some pretty real upside. 3 life is 3 life here off the gift, and go ahead and play the Pyromancer. I think we're fairly well set up here. My opponent does have the Talons in hand. They potentially can swing in for 4 next turn, but Vivian's Invocation is very likely to find something that will 2-for-1 my opponent then, and hopefully just drop a big fatty into play. Oh, not playing that. Do we want to trade? I don't think so. I think this card just offers such good advantage. I think we can afford to take 3 damage. It's interesting how the mana costs have worked this game, since I was happy to trade the Havoc Devils away, but loath to trade the Dismissive Pyromancer away for their 3 drops. It's almost like they're different power levels or something. Okay, opponent playing a Doom Dissenter and equipping it up. Alright. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't think the line changes. I think we're just going to go for Invocation here and see what we hit. Hopefully something sweet. Again, 7 cards is an awful lot. I think we're likely to hit something. Oof. Well. I guess Draconic Disciple turns into a dragon pretty quick though, so I guess that's not the worst. And it does still kill the Hired Blade. So let's go ahead and kill the Hired Blade. So next turn we will have enough mana, because we can tap and sack and turn into a big fatty dragon. Have the Banefire and Fiery Finish still. Not feeling too bad. Don't really want to trade away the Pyromancer. Okay. And we're into pass mode now. See, Banefire plus Vivian's Invocation always works out. One nice thing about kind of missing, quote-unquote, missing with the Invocation there is that we are pretty likely to find some more like big threats in the top couple of cards here, because we did just put 7 on the bottom. Ooh, Fell Spectre. Okay, well, rest in peace, Forest. We take 2 damage off of this. Fell Spectre a lot of the time isn't really like a super hyper synergistic card with like other discard. It's just good and valuable on its own, but that's kind of good enough. So we could play Gin of Wishes here, or we could just make a big fatty dragon. I think the big fatty dragon's a little bit flimsier, because if my opponent has like bounce or something, it does get us quite a bit worse. I actually don't really think I want to rummage. I think our hand's pretty good. So I think I'm just going to play Jin, which means I guess we swing with the both of these. We could play this for... we could, I guess, burn out like the Doom Dissenter, but that doesn't seem super good for Banefire. Yeah, I think we're just going to swing with both. My opponent has an answer for the Jin. I still think we're not really in the market for a block. Yeah, I definitely think you block with the Fell Spectre there, but not too much doing with that. And Gin of Wishes, I think will be pretty good. It's a little bit less mana efficient than the Disciple, but again, if my opponent has bounce, against the Jin, it's kind of bad for us, but against the Disciple, it's really, really bad for us, so I think it's okay. Guess we could have used like the Pyromancer to burn something out that turn, but that doesn't seem great either. Poison Tip Archer. Okay, that's probably going to die. That is a good card. A dangerous card. This whenever any other creature dies, opponents lose a life. Okay, well, we will snipe this while we can and take our free point of damage. We're down to 7. That's not like a crazy high life total or anything. Kind of still want to use Banefire for Finale, but we've got Gin of Wishes to utilize. We could, we should have done that before. Oops, we played the Mountain. That was actually kind of really bad, especially because we want to activate the Dismissive Pyromancer. Getting a little bit too hypey with our land drops there. But we've got a total of 9 mana available, so we could still activate Jin and Banefire. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we've got this for as much as 4. Could kill off the Poison Tipped Archer. Yeah, playing that land was just really bad, because we wanted to use it for like the Pyromancer or a whole bunch of things we would have rather use it for. Alright, well. Oh well. Not to be done about it at this point. Mistakes happen. Not a land? Okay, shock. Sure. I guess it's a little bit awkward. Rather have this dead. We could sacrifice like Dismissive Pyromancer in response. Keep up Banefire. We take an extra point of damage this way. Maybe that's not terrible. That lets us, yeah. Yeah, I think I played this turn quite poorly. Yeah, let's target the Dismissive, the center. And I guess I didn't even hold control, so we can't actually do that in response even there. Okay, opponent's going to get some extra value with the Poison Tipped Archer, which we did not need to give them by any stretch here. Zombie. Do we Banefire at this point? Yeah, I think we should kill it off. We could also use the Pyromancer. And Banefire potentially just hits for a lot in the late game. Maybe that's not so bad. Having that up as instant speed is also has some merit. Alright, let's swing at the... Oh, yeah, we want to use this though, don't we? Let's do that, and I guess we'll use the Pyromancer to kill off the Poison Tipped Archer, because I do want to get in with the Jin. Okay, no instant speed shenanigans. Need to think things through just a little bit better before I do them here. You guys will have to forgive me, it has been a long day filled with glorious magic. Okay, my opponent goes down to 14. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we can do this for 8, which isn't quite lethal on its own. Uh-oh, this looks big, whatever it is. Okay, Dreadmaw. That'll walk into a fiery finish. Yeah, I think we'll just take it from the zombie here. Well, or do we trade? We won't get value off of it, but we hit, we blow up the Dreadmaw, the next turn we hit, and then Banefire kills them. Actually, that doesn't seem so bad. My opponent has an answer. It's maybe awkward for us, but I think even if they do, we're starting to get pretty good value off our Jin. Fiery finish. Hit for the Jin. They have to kill the Jin next turn or they're just dead. Alright, yeah, I don't think this was our cleanest match ever, but I think we're going to be able to take it down. And pass back. Gin of Wishes has been definitely worth the splash. And it's not something you can usually splash, I don't think. Gift of Paradise has kind of enabled it more than usual, but... Ooh, Bone Dragon. Ooh, Bone Dragon actually is kind of bad for us. Is it just lethal on its own? My opponent swings next turn, we trade with the Jin. If we have Havoc Devils and the Goblin Instigator out, that's all they've got. Does this return tapped? They could swing. If my opponent chooses not to block, we have lethal with Banefire, which they may just not. If they do block, they can bring it back next turn tapped, so it can't attack. Then we've got Havoc Devils plus the Instigators. So I think we just swing, because we just have lethal if this gets through, right? We tap for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, more than enough. Yeah. And if they do block, it's fine for me. The opponent does not. Play our Banefire and finish the job. Alright. Yeah, I think our deck performed better than we did that game. Let's put it that way. The Banefire to the face definitely feels good. An excellent finale. Opponent is playing black, green, splashing for Exclusion Mage. Like Poison Tipped Archer and just kind of general good stuff. Doesn't seem super heavily themed. There were a couple of hits for Plummet, one of which is the Bone Dragon, which maybe merits inclusion just based on that, since the Bone Dragon is quite good. Don't think we need to be super proactive on the ground, so I don't think things like Goblin Instigator are probably all that good. My opponent got in for a lot of like incidental damage on the ground, but it was small amounts of damage. I don't think they were really going wide or going real like aggressive on that level. I think I'm going to bring in one Plummet and take out our Goblin Instigator and try and run that back. Alright, what do we think about this hand? We think this hand is okay. Root of the Cowl helps it quite a bit for sure. I think we're okay with it. It's a little bit awkward that we don't have red, but I think it's okay. Root of the Cowl just sets up for a lot of reasonable draws in the mid-game. We find red, we can play Shock, like, things aren't that bad. Well, there goes the Shock or Vivian's Invocation. Probably brought that in to play around Banefire, but these are both pretty good hits. What my opponent takes here does kind of tell us about their game plan. If they're expecting the game to go long, Vivian's Invocation bites the dust. If they're expecting it to go short, Shock would. Okay. So there's some merit in actually sandbagging the mountains here now, because my opponent knows we have Shock, but doesn't know that we can play it. I think next turn we have to play a mountain because we want to have access to our devils, potentially. And actually even that turn we probably should have, because of the Druid of the Cowl. I think the surprise factor, quote-unquote, of playing Shock, Exclusion Mage, I guess, makes our play more acceptable. Okay, Dismissive Pyromancer. Well, now see, maybe I would have wanted to Shock plus the Pyromancer. I think I got a little bit too smart, quote-unquote, for my own good there. I think we're playing Pyromancer now, though, and start getting rid of some extra lands. Yeah. It would be nice to have the Shock to kill off the Exclusion Mage, though. Alright. That's what I get for trying to be fancy, I suppose. Things like that. Denying information for your opponent. It is plus side, but it almost always feels like it doesn't matter. You're just better off doing... I guess, a lot of times when you try and do something like that, I feel like it does end up costing you a little bit. And it cost me a little bit this time. Fel Spectre. Sure. Good value for my opponent. Rest in peace, Deer Forest. I barely knew ye. This is kind of like, I don't know, 1/3 flyer. Well, flyer haste that makes you discard something. At some point the analogy breaks down. Yeah, we'll just take it. Go down to 16. Not a high life total. Do we just want to discard here? Not real likely we're ever going to be blocking, so I guess so. See if we draw something we want. Pitch, I guess, Forest. Oh, that's true. Fel Spectre actually gets us pretty good, doesn't it? I forgot about that. Ooh, the discard. Okay, learned our lesson there. We won't do that again. Play a mountain, play our Druid of the Cowl, pass the turn. That actually does kind of really punish Dismissive Pyromancer. Clever play by my opponent. This is whenever opponent discards a card for any reason. So next turn we'll have 6. We're a little bit off of Meteor Golem. We do still have Shock available, but probably would only use it on the Exclusion Mage if we truly, like my opponent was playing a combat trick or using like the, is it Vines of Vast Foot or is that an old card? The +1/+1 and Trample enchantment. Poison Tipped Archer, good card. Probably trade the Pyromancer for it. And we'll take 1. Pyromancer, like I said, loses a lot of utility. And we actually want to hit land drops going up to the Meteor Golem at this point anyway, so. Okay, we have 6 mana. I guess there's no real reason to wait. Play the Dragon Disciple as well, and then we have just 2. Although I kind of want to use up, or want to keep up Druid of the Cowl to block, so I guess that's a reason. So we played Draconic Disciple, pass the turn with the intent of potentially like blocking, and then using Druid of the Cowl to activate our Dismissive Pyromancer and kill off the Archer. They have like a Giant Growth. It's not Giant Growth. Titanic Growth in response. They would get us pretty good. What's this? Divination for 2. Divination, I think, despite this format actually being a little bit more aggressive than I'd originally expected, and I think a lot of people originally expected, Divination has still just never felt bad to me. There are aggressive decks, you often want to be on the beat down, but I feel like a lot of the time, in a lot of matchups, Divination just doesn't punish you that much. Okay, sure. Take our hit. Still hoping to find a land this next turn, I think. Harpy. Okay, Harpy's kind of terrifying, actually. I think I still just want to get rid of the Archer. It'd be fairly expensive, and yeah, I think that the life gain actually is going to be, or the life loss is actually more detrimental. Ravenous Harpy doesn't have an endless supply of food here. Okay, so let's blow up the poison-tipped Archer. Opponent gets one last trigger before it goes. This poison-tipped Archer is getting very friendly with the Pyromancer over these couple of games. Okay, and then Meteor Golem would do some solid work here. Just land in general would be good. We want to get Draconic Disciple online. Yeah, seems solid here. So we can blow up the Ravenous Harpy and still have Shock up, I guess. Seems not so bad. I think we do want to kill the Harpy over the Fell Spectre at this point. Opponent is down to 2 cards in hand. I guess we'll just pass here. Opponent does know our last card in hand if they have kept reasonable notes, which I imagine they have. We'll probably use it at the end of turn because I want to be able to upgrade our Draconic Disciple next turn, probably. I'm just going in for 1 damage. And then this is, the Spectre has been pecking away since the moment it first entered. Uh-oh, this looks kind of big. Oh, there's that Bone Dragon. Yeah, that's going to be a problem kind of no matter how we cut it. Do we not want to use Shock then? If we don't use Shock, that's saying we're not going to use Shock next turn because we are going to have to turn this into a 5/5 to trade. I guess we don't use Shock, I don't think. We have enough blockers on the ground for Exclusion Mage. We can't afford to go offensive here. Okay, we've got 7 mana. Don't think we can really afford to do anything other than just get that into the air to block the Bone Dragon. So let's go ahead and pass. And make ourselves a dragon. Not quite as cool as a Bone Dragon somehow, but a regular old dragon we'll have to do. Blood March. Or Skymarsh Bloodletter. We're happier to shock that than we are to shock the Exclusion Mage in the future. One dragon's just so big. Alright, well, let's make our dragon. Go ahead and go to blocks. And stay alive for the meantime. I think we are behind at this point. We do still have good draws. Ooh, Vine-Mare's kind of scary though. One doesn't seem to have anything else. So we've got 7 here. We can't Rejuvenator and Shock and Havoc Devils, so I guess we're just going to hold off on the Rejuvenator. And go ahead and Shock the Bloodletter. We can't afford to swing because of the Vine-Mare. We really need the Meteor Golem to stick around back behind, I think. Well, on the other hand, I guess we could. Swing for 3. How do we win this game? Played a lot of our top end already. This Fell Spectre, I think, is just going to kind of keep pecking in for damage. Still don't like swinging with the Meteor Golem, though. I think it's just pretty risky. Let's go ahead and pass. Maybe we have to, though. My opponent is top decking. Like, they have to find exactly removal to really punish us there. Alright, we get down to 7. Through to the Cal. Play our Rejuvenator. Go forth and find us some land, shall we? Gene of Wishes, I guess, is probably our next big exciting thing. Ooh, man, that's unfortunate. Stuck 2 of our remaining big threats on the bottom. Ooh, and Banefire and Havoc Devils. Yeah, hard to know about that beforehand, of course, but that is unfortunate. We swing with the Havoc Devils. Opponent could double block. It's just not that good. We do have a Plummet in the deck. I guess that would potentially break the stall. Okay, Gift of Paradise. That gets us closer to playing the Djinn if we find it. There are worse things. And it buys us 3 turns off this Fell Spectre, I suppose. If we do go to the absolute bottom of the deck, Banefire can still get us out of this. Opponents just got Bone Divinate or Bone Dragon at some point. I'm kind of surprised they're not like trading away Fine Mare and the like. Because if they ever bring back Bone Dragon, we're just so likely to lose. There's Woodland Stream. Let's go ahead and just pass it back. In full board stalled mode. Because, yeah, I mean, they just need to get one more creature into the graveyard. And it's not like we can just not take hits, but... or not block our opponent's creatures. Okay, well, Draconic Disciple is pretty good. That will turn into a real threat pretty quickly here. Yeah, I'm surprised my opponent's not trying for the Bone Dragon more. At the very worst, the Draconic Disciple is likely to end up trading with the Fell Spectre, or I guess having the Fell Spectre chump it, and then trading for my opponent's Bone Dragon. Okay, Barter Brute. We have 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10. That is enough for both things. Right. This is 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7. Sure. Fair. Boggart Brute. Let's play a land. We want to attack at this point. Still does not seem particularly good, but maybe isn't the worst. Opponent could bring back Bone Dragon on their turn, though, then. And we want to try and force my opponent to get rid of the Fell Spectre as their last card for the Ravenous Dragon. Or the Bone Dragon. Oh wait, they've only got 6 over there. They can't exile the Bone Dragon. They actually need 2 more, I guess. So yeah, if they never trade with anything else... enough. Okay, well. Opponent might have something like a Disperse here. But not too much we can do about it. Oh, we actually even had an extra mana somewhere along the line. Yeah, oops. Okay, we can't do anything with that mana anyway. Should have kept the land in hand, though. It was just free there. Okay. That is dead. Got a 5/5 flyer. 5/5 flyers do kill opponents on occasion. No play just yet. Okay, another Gift of Paradise is potentially online. My opponent's got 1. Yeah, still just got 6 over there. I guess we are swinging with just the dragon. It's some way to like sacrifice something on their turn and then bring back the dragon in the same turn that could maybe kind of punish us. Alright, well, Gift of Paradise is galore. We do go back up to 9, which is a little bit more wiggle room. Opponent maybe trying to play the Bone Dragon on end step there, but realizing that wasn't actually going to end up working out for them. We both hit a lot of land drops. Both down to 17 cards in the library. Okay, now my opponent's getting in. That makes sense. So we could just take it and not accept the trade. We have more of a board presence, though, so if my opponent wants to bring back the dragon, we potentially swing for kind of a lot this next turn. We could just take it, though, and go to 7. My opponent keeps pressuring. Just like block like that, maybe. Actually doesn't seem bad either. My opponent doesn't have a way to kill their own creatures, like... yeah. Doom Dissenter. We can just strand the Bone Dragon. I like stranding the Bone Dragon. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised if next turn my opponent actually makes a more serious attack. I think we're just going to keep swinging the dragon here. And then next turn they can make an attack that we can't refuse, that we actually do have to block some stuff. And bring back the Bone Dragon. No, still just coming in with 1 point of damage a turn. I think I just take this, like... don't want my opponent to get the Bone Dragon back. 1 point of damage just isn't that much if they can't get another card in the graveyard. I don't know why my opponent's being so timid. I feel like you accept it's going to be maybe a bit of a bad attack at some point. I guess maybe they're worried about getting killed on the crackback now at this point, but things are only getting worse turn by turn. Okay, point goes down to 6. Pass back. We do have very few draws that are good. I mean, again, the Jin is powerful, but most of our big threats are out here. Okay, opponent not making any attack at all. Still's just not that bad for me. Sure, we'll Tormenting Voice. No longer have the Spectre in play. That would be something to consider, but it is gone now. Let's draw a couple. Declare Dominance. That probably just wins us the game, right? If they had an answer for the dragon, they'd utilize it. Could play it on something else. We could play on like the Eldritch Rejuvenator and try and get in with everything. They have like a fog effect, we just straight up die. It's kind of the only thing that gets us, though. I think I'm just gonna put on the dragon, though. I think if they had an answer for the dragon, that would have been forthcoming a while ago. On the other hand, we could play Declare Dominance on the Rejuvenator and just swing with like these two, and then they'd have to have a bunch of answers, and we'd still have some blockers to like keep ourselves alive. One could bring back the Bone Dragon, although then we're taking kind of a lot. Yeah, I'm just gonna go on the dragon. I think this is safest. Have an answer, they would use it, right? What if they drew an answer? That might be a reason they wouldn't attack last game, or last turn if they had an answer. So we declare dominance on the Rejuvenator. We swing, we get to trade for this and this. I guess maybe we could put on something slightly larger and trade away more. Put on, say, this, we could hit for 7. We kill that, and that, or put it on here and kill, swing for that, and that. Okay, and we're likely to be killing at that point. Okay, it looks like my opponent's probably F6'd, so I think we maybe thought about that more than we needed to right there at the end, but I think this should get my opponent dead. Opponent was just going to allow it all to go through, but unfortunately has to block everything. But the fact that my opponent was going to let it go makes me think that we got him here. That over there, trade away, call it the good game to my opponent. Yeah, I think they made a mistake by not really forcing the issue with Bone Dragon, but we're happy to pick up the victory, I suppose. So I end up going 2-1. I think that the deck was pretty solid. Our game 1 loss was close, or our match 1 loss was close, and it was against I think the scariest red-white deck I've seen so far, and that's saying something because that deck is very good. Draconic Disciple did a good job. Meteor Golem, I think, was at its best in this deck. Banefire, obviously sweet. Invocation, sweet. And Gin of Wishes. I think pretty much everything did its part. Things like Boggart Brute were a little bit out of place. Maybe even Havoc Devils. Like, I would have rather have some maybe more top end and a little bit less sort of mid-range stuff. But all in all, I think the deck was pretty solid. Maybe ever so slightly lacking in removal. But yeah, overall, probably like a solid B+ or something. Thanks everyone so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate everyone that subscribes, comments, likes, all that jazz. You guys know what I'm going to say. I'll see you guys next time.